Welcome to The Bottom Line, where we unpack some of the main business and economic stories of the day. Today I am at the Warsaw Stock Exchange attending the European Capital Markets Forum, and I am joined by the CEO of the Warsaw Stock Exchange, Tomasz Bardziłowski. Thank you very much for making the time to join us today.
Oh, I'm very much pleased to.
So I have the privilege of actually speaking to the host of this great event. And I wanted to start by asking you, as the host, of the purpose of this forum.
Well, that's a good question. What is the purpose of the European Capital Markets Forum that we've organized here today? We, as a Warsaw Stock Exchange, together with Poland's Central Depository of Securities, are the hosts, and we collaborate here with the Federation of European Securities Exchanges. The purpose was to discuss what is the role of capital markets and how capital markets can help Europe, can help Poland in reaching the key objectives. Europe and Poland, we have similar challenges. We need to increase the level of investments to boost economic growth. We need to also invest spending for defense, for security. We have to invest and finance the green transition. And for this, we need to mobilize private capital. Capital markets are one of the best platforms to mobilize capital for better investments. Capital markets also provide better returns in long term than what savers can receive on bank deposits, or if they keep their savings in cash. So increasing the role of capital markets in the economy is beneficial for investments, for growth, but also for those who want to save and want to receive better returns, for example, for their pensions.
There seems to have been a bit of a revival of the discussion regarding capital markets, and there's definitely a sense of urgency regarding this discussion. Would you say that the current geopolitical situation, perhaps the Trump presidency, has led to this discussion? Has it become more of a priority?
Yes, definitely. Over last year, there was lots of reports about Europe and the need in Europe to increase competitiveness globally. The competitiveness has been high on the agenda of European Commission, is one of the top priorities. And of course, all these issues and action plans will get an additional boost from what has happened in the US and what we hear from the current administration, what has happened after the election of Mr. Trump as a president. So there's a sense of urgency, and here what we say here in Warsaw that and we want to send this signal from Warsaw during Polish presidency of the Council of European Union that Europe needs a fresh boost for growth, also for AI transformation, and this boost can come from private and public capital markets.
As much as this is a European endeavor, and obviously there has to be cooperation between Brussels and Europe as a whole, each European country, is European legislation, EU legislation, getting in the way of Europe's capital markets? And what has come of the Capital Markets Union, which obviously started a while back?
Yes, the notion of Capital Markets Union was first mentioned over a decade ago. And now we are talking more about Savings and Investment Union because we realize that as we cannot create one country out of member states, we have European Union, similar way, perhaps creating one capital market would not be the best idea. It's important to support regional and local capital markets as well, so they can provide financing for smaller companies which are abundant in Europe. And we are also wanted to be more vocal that the level of regulation in capital markets, in finance, is too high and may be a barrier to our goals. And that's why there's lots of talk about simplification or even deregulation in European financial markets, which I think is a very important objective, and this is something that definitely we will talk and will be one of the main themes of Polish presidency.
Andrzej Domański, in his keynote speech today, he mentioned that Poland's capital market is the strongest in the Central and Eastern European region. Do you think that Poland can pave the way for the region when it comes to mobilizing capital in the region, developing capital markets?
Yes, we are the largest capital market. For example, the capitalization, so the value of all companies which are listed on the Warsaw Stock Exchange is more than 50% bigger than the value of the companies on the second biggest exchange in Vienna. So, of course, we have a responsibility to have a leading role in also integrating our capital markets, and in order to better cooperate and to offer better investment opportunities for the citizens, investors in the region. In November, we have signed a memorandum of cooperation among 7 exchanges in the region under support from European Bank of Reconstruction. And in this memorandum, we said that we want to integrate operationally in order to create a more liquid capital market for not only investors from the region, so that investor in Bucharest can buy Polish stocks, can buy on the Warsaw Stock Exchange and vice versa, but also to be more attractive for global investors from US, from Europe, but also from Japan, for example.
And when do you expect to see the fruits of this?
Yeah, we are working on that. There's a meeting in Warsaw tomorrow with the working group, and we believe that over the next few months we will have a more concrete roadmap, and over the next say 2 years, I think that we will be ready to show that we are more integrated and that investor from Zagreb easily can buy a company in Budapest, and our investors can enjoy making profits on the investments in the region.
Speaking about perhaps savings or financial assets, I read that 1/3 of Europeans versus 1/10 of Americans hold their financial assets in cash and deposits. Do you think that Europe is in this rut, shall we say, because there is a poor understanding of investment?
Yes, this is a very good statistics, and we often use this statistics. If I may ask you, do you know which country has the highest proportion of savings in cash in bank deposit in Europe? So you mentioned 30%. There's a country which has 50%. Do you know which?
No, I don't.
It's Poland.
I was thinking that it might be Poland.
Yeah,
yes.
We as Poles, of course, because of higher interest rates, but also because of financial, knowing finance, we keep the largest share of our financial savings on bank deposit and cash. I think that when we have high interest rates, like right now, this situation is beneficial also for the savers, but in longer term, assuming interest rates will go down, this savings, they will not generate good returns. So that's why we also, as a stock exchange, we want to offer more instruments, attractive, to bring attractive companies, to have good companies listed, and to develop new instruments which will be interesting for investors. And just to have a small statistics, so if we from this, Europe wants to go down to the level of US in the statistics from 30% to 10%. If we will go down from 50% to 30% in Poland, we will have around 600 billion zlotys, so 150 billion euro, and this is more or less the current value of all companies listed on the stock exchange. So this is a huge opportunity, and we are, want to be well prepared once the interest rates will go down to offer good investments on the stock exchange.
Do you think that this move to invest in AI, there's a lot of focus, even competition, shall we say, do you think that this will trigger and channel more efforts to develop the capital markets in Europe?
Yes, definitely, because when we talk about capital markets, it's not only stock exchanges, but also the private markets, and here I'm talking about private equity funds and also venture funds. Venture funds are those funds which invest in startups, also in new technology. They diversify risks, so they invest in many startups at the same time. And lots of those AI companies that we can talk about, the first financing was from venture capital. For example, you know what, one of the leaders of video AI is a Polish company and called 11 Labs.
Yes,
this company
we
right now
was
is raising $250 million in US at the valuation of $3 billion. But this company received the first financing from a venture fund. Not Polish, but Czech, but also Polish investors. So we want to have more such financing at the very early level, also in companies related to AI, so that we have more such companies and more such successes like 11 Labs.
What do you think the trajectory is for Poland in terms of its development of capital markets? Like moving away from the European picture, but just Poland in particular. Do you think it can take off soon in Poland? Do you think we can get on with things?
That's a good question. I'm actually quite... I joined the stock exchange last year, so it's less than a year, but I've joined because I see huge opportunity. Over last years, the share of Polish capital market in the whole economy has decreased substantially, from 35% of GDP to 25% of GDP, and this is well below EU average. So in Germany, it's 50% of GDP. We have countries like Sweden and Denmark when the size of capital markets to GDP is 200%. So we have a lot to do. There's a big opportunity for us, and I hope that we will succeed, because this is what we need to do for the economy to get the needed financing.
Okay, Tomasz Bardziłowski, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much to be with you today.
Thank you. And that brings us to the end of The Bottom Line. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you join us every weekday for Business Arena at 5 p.m. CET. And for more business updates and news and features, stay with us on TVP World. I was your host, Marie Kato. Goodbye.